G'day, I'm Paul. Have a look at this. We are at the global reveal of the new Polestar 3. Now, I'm excited for this because Polestar has been doing some interesting stuff in the EV space. This is going to compete with things like the BMW iX, the Audi e-tron, the Mercedes-Benz EQE SUV, and has a bit of a performance bent to it as well. This will arrive in Australia early 2024 and globally 2023. In Australia, it'll have an asking price of around $135,000. Now, we're going to do a quick walk around here. We can't drive the car, but I'll run you through as much as I can in the very short amount of time that I have. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon as well. But let's get cracking. So let's start off with the design. So this looks a little different to the other Polestar cars we've seen to date. And a lot of that comes down to aero. So you can see this opening just here. They've tried to make this car as aerodynamic as possible while still having those SUV proportions. And that means this little section here acts like a bit of a spoiler. So it accelerates air that goes over the car. And then at the back of it, I'll show you that later on, the spoiler then basically prevents turbulent airflow around the back of the car. And it just gets it the ability to cut through the air without too much drag. This has a 0.29 coefficient of drag, so it isn't amazing, but it is still pretty good for an SUV this size. The headlights, these have 1.3 million pixels each, and each of those pixels can move on its own, and this is perfect for things like matrix LED functionality, and in Mercedes-Benz products, they can also project images out on the road using this exact same technology. Down here, you've got the Smart Zone. This is basically it's not transparent, but it has the ability for cameras behind here to actually see through it. There's radar behind here as well. You'll be able to get this car with LiDAR as well. And LiDAR gives this car the ability to do a 3D map of its surroundings and enables autonomous driving as well. But this whole section here is all about getting that information back to the car. The other cool thing as well we learnt today is all this writing here isn't inscribed on this so that the cameras can see through it. It's actually on another layer of glass within there, which I think is pretty cool. You can also see visible lines there for heating. So in the snow, you don't want snow building up on this. It can just melt away. Down here, you've got cooling for that battery pack, and there's louvers in there that open and close. We'll jump around to the wheels. This is pretty cool. So this will come with the option of 21 and 22 inch alloy wheels. This is the 22 inch alloy wheel design. So on the outside there, you have like a bit of a matte chrome finish and then piano black on the inside. These brakes are enormous too. So 400mm rotor, 4-piston caliper at the back, 390mm. It's a really sort of nice looking package here. Air suspension with adaptive damping under the body there as well. A little bit of black cladding there as well because this is an all-wheel drive vehicle. And in terms of all-wheel drive, this will launch with two specifications, standard and performance. The performance will be almost 400 kilowatts of power, almost 1,000 newton meters of torque, and it'll do 0 to 100 in under 5 seconds, which I think is pretty impressive. You've got to remember that this is heavy. It's a big SUV. It'll only be available in 5 seats. They're not doing a 7-seat version, but when we jump inside, I'll give you an idea of why there's so much more room. Over here, I don't love this. Basically, Polestar sticks this on all their cars, and it becomes a little redundant because if you buy a power upgrade in the future, it kind of gets outdated. So we'll jump up here, have a look at this. So the wing mirror, body colored at the top, LED indicator, another camera down the bottom there. And I love this sculpt down the side. So it's like a high gloss plastic with this section that runs all the way down the side of the car. The door handles are interesting, so these pop out as you approach the vehicle, and then you simply just pull the handle. They always sit flush when the car's operating as well for that aerodynamic feel. Now, let's come around to the back. Have a look at the rear. I love the look of this. So big LED strip that runs along the back here. It even has its own startup sequence. So when that all lights up, it's all quite sort of unique in terms of the way that it presents itself. This is that spoiler section I was talking about. So the air flows down the back of the car, cuts through here, and this design is basically here to stop the turbulent airflow accumulating at the back. You've got a lower diffuser section there as well. So around the back here, you have a little camera there as well. I'll crack the boot open. You have just under 500 litres of cargo capacity here. Let's have a look beneath this cargo floor if we can. No, we can't open that. Pre-production car, so we probably can't open that. But if you do drop the second row as well, that expands the space to around 1,400 litres. Look, it's an okay space, but with this sort of back section that tapers down really sharply, I think it is going to be tricky to fit a lot of higher items in here. It doesn't feel as big as something like a BMW iX. So a little disappointed with that, but we'll see how it goes in practice when we finally get behind the wheel. Now, before we jump inside, let me show you the charging. So if you whip around here, so charging infrastructure. So 111 kilowatt hour battery, it is a big one. You have AC charging, 3-phase up to 11 kilowatts, and DC charging up to 250 kilowatts. I suspect that will just be brief. It is all on a 400 volt architecture, driving range of over 600 kilometers for the entry level, and just under 600 kilometers WLTP for the performance version. Let's jump jump inside now because I think the interior is probably the coolest part of this car. Have a look at this interior. So this looks really high-end and premium. So this will come standard with a vegan interior, but Volvo's saying that a lot of manufacturers that use vegan interiors are using toxic materials to create them. So theirs is a sustainable vegan with pine oil or something like that. If you do choose to go down the leather path, you've actually got an inscription here on the seat, and that basically tells you that the leather is ethically sourced. They're basically only buying leather from byproducts of the meat industry, so it's stuff that would have been used anyway, and they're going to charge a premium for it as well because the whole thing is traced and tracked. Technology, so Android Automotive comes standard here on this big screen in the center of the car. It's just under 15 inches inside, all color touchscreen. Then hand of the driver, you have a smaller display there as well. This looks sensational. This is stuff that Tesla needs because it's all just blank in front of the driver and you really don't get all the information that you need. This is just the perfect way to do it. You change your gears up here, so it's a column shifter. Plenty of storage as well, so wireless phone charging here, cup holders, big center console there as well, and then storage on this bottom tier. Sound system, let's quickly talk about that. So 25 speaker Bowers and Wilkins sound system. It has Dolby Atmos surround sound. It's like 1600 watts. It is a whopper of a thing. I just love this design. It's got like a material up the top there and this wood grain here. It is a really nice place to be seated and feels sort of quite big and airy in here as well. Let's jump into the second row. I want to explain why there is so much space in this car. Have a look at this. Now, the reason there is so much space back here is the wheelbase is almost 3 meters in size. This is kind of the same size as a 7-seat SUV, but because they're not doing 7 seats, they've been able to push this row all the way back. It means you get stacks of knee room. Headroom's great with this beautiful glass roof. You even get a little Polestar logo within the roof, which I think is pretty cool. Heated seats at the back here. You have USB-C charging and air vents as well. It is a really spacious place to be seated with, you know, all of the bells and whistles you'd expect. So this has been your first look at the new Polestar 3. I've had to rush through this because we've literally only had 15 minutes to record this. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like it and you share it with your mates. Let me know what you think about this car in the comments section below. Would you buy one of these? Is it too expensive? Is it too cheap? I'm keen for your feedback, and I'll see you guys next time.